welcome everybody. This is a very special episode of Chess and Chat with the founder of Drip, formerly of Roblox, Vibhu, and I'm super excited. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I've been all over Drip in the past weeks, really checking out everything that's going on there. I think it's truly one of the most amazing things happening in Web3 and in the art space in general, one of the most exciting things. So I'm very, very happy to be joined by you today. What's up, man?
It's awesome to be here with you, Lucas. Look forward to being getting my ass whooped in chess in a little bit.
That's only
Let's do
exactly.
it.
We'll see where that leads us. But I'm super excited to chat about everything you've accomplished so far and everything you're looking forward to with Drip. But I want to take us back, kind of like talk a little bit about yourself, about your background, how you got here. I know you kind of right out of school got a job at Roblox, one of the kind of like OG games. Talk to us a little bit about like your first steps into engineering and programming, and then how you
hmm
first ended up in the Web3 space.
Yeah, sure. Well, I was a programmer um, as a teen, and I enjoyed both writing code, but also trying to like put things on the internet that people would like. Um, so, like, yeah, by the time I graduated college, I'd probably already tried like four or five startups in that time period. And honestly, Roblox was just another company at that time. Like I was just applying to a bunch of stuff that interested me, especially in gaming. Um, and they were somewhere between like 10 and 15 people in Redwood City. And yeah, I sat down with the CEO at that time. I didn't know anything about it. They liked my resume. They liked that I was interested in games. Um, and they made me an offer. And yeah, I really wasn't, it was kind of a sleeping giant at that time. Like it was a very large user base, but it wasn't, something that people talked about in the media or things like that. But even, yeah, even very early on, had tremendous kind of like user traction and revenue traction. Um, yeah, that was a really interesting and fun experience to be a young person working there because I was much closer than most of the other people in the team to our user base in terms of age. So I like to mix it up in the community, and so I kind of became like known as like an administrator that was like doing fun stuff. Like I hosted a live stream every week with Shedletsky, the creative director, and a few other people, and we put all kinds of like unusual, interesting things into the site that didn't exist before. Like the rest of the team was very focused on the game engine, and me and a guy named Sam Rahimi were working on mostly the website and the game launcher and discovery and profiles and things like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I didn't stay there very long. Yeah, I got fired.
Oh, what did you get fired for?
Yeah, as I said, I was kind of very close to the community, and I wrote a backdoor uh, for myself in the profile editor that allowed me to customize my profile with JavaScript. And yeah, the CTO like found the commit when he was like running through the like deploys, and he sat me down in the conference room with a VP engineering. Unfortunately, the CTO has since passed away. That was in the room with me, and they told me that like I had exposed like a security vulnerability, and I wasn't being careful. I was very amateur, and this and that. And they were very, very unhappy. And yeah, that was a lesson. I think I took my passion a little too far for having fun, but
Yeah.
um, that's okay. I had a new job like 2 days later, so.
Yeah. Talk about that. You also then, was that when you started your own company, or you then went on to the next thing first?
No, I got a job at a company called Threadbox as an engineer,
Mm.
and my boss was actually Joe, who is my co-founder on Drip. So um, we met back in 2010, and that small, it was a four-person company, and ended up being acquired by MySpace when I was there. And Joe and I went to write code at MySpace for a bit, and we rewrote their groups products, rebranded it to Threads. We built MySpace we turned their DMs into a real-time chat that sat in the bottom bar. Yeah, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but like both Facebook and MySpace had the original version of messaging was like a XMTP chat that sat in the bottom bar, and you expanded it up, and then you could have these like tabs on the bottom of the site with your friends. So we recreated that at MySpace, and then like MySpace got acquired by some kind of banner advertising like marketing company, because we were just being absolutely crushed by Facebook, and Fox Interactive put it up for sale, and they gave me an option to stay or leave and take a severance check of $80,000, and I took the check and I ran and and started my first company.
And that was the one that got acquired by Nest later. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. I've had pretty good luck. I kind of find my way into like little situations. I think it's more just that like when I'm if there's being around Silicon Valley during that time in general, like there was a lot of M&A. There was a lot of you know I was kind of like at the birth of and we saw the end of it in 2021, but it was like the beginning of this like super cycle where JavaScript was starting to become like the dominant thing, and people were rewriting all the apps on the internet to be, more real time and dynamic versus like HTML static. It was also when the mobile phone was like the iPhone was becoming popular, and the App Store had just launched, and so yeah, it was a really amazing time to be in the Valley, where you saw like mobile is like the second platform, right? And the most important platform that we have. And that was it's not even 15 years old. And I have a way of finding myself into things at the right time, I guess. And I think even when those things don't work out, sometimes the floor is like a little higher than other times. But we built this like social networking app, went through Y Combinator, raised a bunch of money from Tencent and some other Greylock and Andreessen Horowitz and so on. And Nest and a whole bunch of other companies were looking for mobile engineering talent and were willing to pay for it. And I had a really good engineering team, even though our product was being crushed by Instagram and an early version of Snapchat and so on. But found my way there, and that's where I met my second co-founder, Sean, who's also at Drip. So the three co-founders at Drip are me, Sean, Joe. I've worked with both of them.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah, those two guys were the two best engineers I ever got to work with. One of them was my manager. One of them was my sat next to me, was my colleague. And like whenever I find good people, I definitely always like keeping them in mind for when I'm going to do something next. And both those guys came with me to Beta, and then came to Salon Spaces, and then Drip. And if we ever do something again, I hope that they would join me once again on that.
Yeah, let's talk about the Solana part, because so far everything seems very Web 2. What was your first kind of touch point with either, I don't know, did you invest in Bitcoin early on? How did you first like kind of get into the whole crypto Web3 thing? How did Solana Spaces find you? Was it purely by accident? Was that your first touch point with the Web3 community?
I purchased 10 Bitcoin in 2015 and promptly sold it for a like $1,000 gain at the time, which I thought was like remarkable. But I didn't revisit it until Solana Foundation kind of approached us about building stores in 2021. And in fact, I was not only like not involved, I was like actively trying to ignore it because I thought it was very stupid. Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't get over the architecture of it. And I couldn't see past the database side of it into like composability, into provenance, into these other kind of aspects that it had. And but yeah, I honestly I during the summer of 2021, I think it was like the first time we had a conversation with Solana, and I was building stores around the world, which were called beta, and we were kind of at the end of our life there, like gone through a very tough period during COVID.
Right.
And I remember calling a whole bunch of friends of mine and asking them what is going on with crypto. I need to understand because I'm tired of just like writing it off. It seems like these people are having a lot of fun, and it just I don't know. I just wanted to try to get it, and so one friend counseled me to get an Ethereum wallet, go buy an NFT, go participate in Mint. I'm going to give you your ENS address. And she kind of walked me through it. And it instantly gave me the feeling of collecting sports cards, which is something I've done my entire life as a hobby, and other like sports memorabilia. And I don't know, I was kind of hooked. I thought it was just like a bad enough experience. But doing something new that it just seemed like, you know, I don't know, it just seemed worth spending more
There
time
was
on.
something there.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
What was the first NFT
but
you got
yeah.
there?
So the first NFT I minted was a rugged project that was a some kind of like cartoon tiger. I don't even remember the name of it.
Hmm.
And man, it was terrible art. I don't know why I did that one. And then I did a few art blocks mints, and that was a much better experience. I wish I had sold at that time. That would have been the ideal thing. But I like the generative stuff for sure. That like resonated with me as being like an on-chain native format that would be tough to kind of replicate with physicals.
Yeah.
And I was interested in Nouns DAO. I couldn't afford any of those things, but when I was in the Discord and just thought it was like a very interesting community. And yeah, when I came but Solana was very inorganic because basically we had this opportunity to build stores for them, and it seemed very interesting, and I had nothing better to do. And Solana Foundation wrote this grant to cover the capex of the stores and made a bunch of introductions for us to find partners to activate the space. And yeah, kind of in the process of working on that, I learned about Solana.
Yeah.
And that was an important thing, honestly, because I came at the problem with a very fresh eyes in terms of, okay, how should someone experience crypto for the first time? Because I was going through that myself. And what are the things that you want to kind of point them towards and take them away from? And we really had to be thoughtful in that store because you had all kinds of ages and demographics and geographies walking in out of the street who had not the slightest clue. They wouldn't even know what Ethereum was, right? Or they've heard of Bitcoin, but didn't have any. And that's like first moment is just so crucial for helping create the right experience and feeling.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the rest of what they've been told about cryptos is that it's a scam and it's going to take your money and all these like terrible things. So I still think that's the real key of Drip that laid within the store framework was like our desire to really craft a crypto experience that felt welcoming to people who are new. And I think that's still kind of like a lot of what we do is thinking through how to make that happen. Like we never lost those roots.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting. I mean, that first experience, I think, is so, like, because everything that you hear in the media is so jarringly horrible, right? Like, everybody losing their money, people getting scammed, millions and billions going to zero in a mere seconds sometimes, right? And I think that's such an interesting thing to hear from you as like the drip approach, right? Like making like eliminating these entry barriers as much as possible, which is also what these stores were really like this first touch point. You had some exposure to NFTs there. Talk a little bit about like how you thought about these stores and how you designed them and what you wanted in them and what you chose in them. And also for the people who don't know, you had New York City, right? Hudson Yards, you had Miami was the main.
And Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, the New York City opened first, and Miami was kind of like the big project that we took on, the Solana Embassy. Well, we wanted to at first our goal was to try to educate people about how the blockchain works, and that didn't work at all. Nobody wanted to hear about any of that stuff. And so kind of progressively we focus on, pretty much three things. I'd say like one was merchandise. It's kind of a Trojan horse for like we made really nice products that I wish Solana still offered today, that I still wear on the regular. And so people would come and pick that up, and part of like the crypto culture. In addition, there's like the consumer view of it being a scam, but there's also the equal parts the consumer view that it's like this hacker underground like kind of cool scene. And I think the merch we had was something that people were proud to wear, even if they didn't really understand it. But they might go home and Google it and kind of learn more about either the stuff that we made from Solana or the like hundreds of products we had from Solana projects that were there. So merch, games. So we had a whole bunch of games people learn on, like a Rory project, which is still a fantastic game today. And then art. And every time, I think that was the thing that people understood right away from a communication point of view. Okay, I understand there's digital art, I can collect it and it's mine and I own it. It just resonates with people. Okay, I mean, you talk to them about the tokens. How does Solana work? How does it become valuable? Why is it valuable? These things are really hard to explain, but showing somebody a beautiful piece of art, or a cartoon or whatever it is, there's just instant skeuomorphic, kind of relationship to that. Yeah. That is why coming into the very end of the company, we, Drip was kind of part of that effort to get something in front of people that was a very clean way for them to acquire art for free. But coming out of that experience, I was pretty convinced that we had to focus on that as a community. We had to go down the content and kind of creation route, because that was where the mental model could be formed very, very quickly for people that were new.
Yeah, talk about that spark. When was it? I think it was for a time, at least in parallel, right? That you ran both of the spaces, the physical space plus Drip. And then like what was the first idea behind Drip? Was just pushing out this kind of like sign up here with your wallet, get something sent to you every week. And like, where did it go from there? Yeah. How did it grow into where you guys are at now?
Yeah. I think it was basically, I mean, the price of Solana had crashed a lot, and so like minting even like non-CNFTs seemed like fairly affordable. And right. I think our team did a drop with a photographer as a reward to people who completed a Phantom sign-up quest in our store. Mm-hmm. And I think we looked at the numbers and the cost of doing that, and we're like, oh, it just doesn't seem very expensive. Like, why couldn't we do this more often? Like, why couldn't we send people art more often? And so, one of our engineers, Rabiga, who's still working on Drip today, and Joe kind of like built out a tool for me to send out art to a list. And then Sean built a kind of like way for people to capture their wallet address on the Solana Spaces domain. And we put a kiosk in the store that signs you up as well. And yeah, it was a really simple product. I mean, you put your wallet in and we sent you free stuff. Yeah. And I was surprised. I think we were just like taken aback by the enthusiasm for it because I think the cognitive dissonance for me that I kind of attached myself to was, hey, everyone is trying to tell me that the only thing people care about is the value of the piece and the scarcity, and yet we just sent this thing for free. It has zero value to anybody because it wasn't even discoverable on like marketplaces, and yet they're showing up in our replies and our DMs and demanding more and more and more. And that was like really a big spark for us. Like we felt like, okay, like maybe there's something else to the idea of on chain, like the fact that you can own something on chain, but maybe it doesn't need to be a one of one or a one of 10,000 kind of thing. But very early on, like I mean, really from like the very first drop, we saw a lot of possibilities. Like we did know that there was something there to the recurring model. I think we just conceived of it as maybe like a MailChimp type of thing originally. Like if you look at our tweets about Drip from the early days, we talked a lot about it as being this like B2B type of tool. And I didn't necessarily like put it all together that maybe there were like creators that would want to do this on the regular. That came quite a bit later, but yeah, the idea that like there might be multiple lists and there might be tools for people to kind of send up assets to those lists was like a primordial thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know like when the creator side kind of emerged, but somewhere between like the like January and March.
I think I was at a Solana event in Berlin, and they had like a little NFT exhibit, and it was one of the first times that I was offered this like referral code or entry code, because it was still pretty hard to like even get one, right? You guys didn't let everyone
that's
in.
True. Yeah, Dr. Rebel put that together. Yeah, that was awesome. And that was when we didn't have any channels, so we had a single list, and we had sent probably like 18 to 20 pieces. Yeah, well, honestly, we were just like very, and we still have this. I mean, this is kind of how we build stuff. We made a promise to people from day one that if you put your wallet on the list, we're going to keep sending you stuff. We never broke that promise to anybody. And every week we kind of changed one thing about how we did the drops. Maybe it was like introduction of rarity, or maybe it was, how we interacted on Twitter, or like how much content we made to support the drop. But yeah, we like kept relentlessly changing it and making it 5, 10, 20% better. And those gains kind of compound. But when we knew compressed NFTs were going to mainnet, that was when we really did start to think much bigger. We thought, okay, like cost goes to zero of minting. Then the goal is how can we send even more content to people? And really, the only thing that made sense was to, turn the keys over to others and allow them to build their own types of things. And that was just a matter of like finding the right go-to-market for that.
Yeah.
And that was Degen Poet. And he was like in December, he had gone through this like crazy edition meta that he didn't pioneer it, but he really like drove that kind of like version of one of one forward, which was much higher supply. But he was just so good at driving demand and making people interested in what he was doing. And then he got burned out by it and he quit. And I contacted him at some point and was like, what do you think about this? This idea of like somewhere like not an edition, not one of ones, but like potentially much bigger supply, giving it to people for free. And originally the monetization model was you drop people art for free, and then you go mint to one of one on exchange art and let that audience go and like, bid on it. And I think we got the creator right. The model was wrong. Like we needed to add patronage into the platform, which we did maybe like 7 or 8 weeks into it. And people have forgotten that Degen Poet dropped for months straight with no monetization on the platform at all. Like the only thing you could do was subscribe to his lists and receive a free thing from him, and there was no way to get back.
I'm an idiot.
but yeah, I mean, that's why like I'm always paying like my respects to him because Drip doesn't exist without him taking that leap of faith as a blue chip top artist, on Solana, just saying YOLO, I'm going to send free art to people. Like really for the first 5 or 6 months of the year last year, uh, the experience I had with creators was basically getting turning the other way. Like no one wanted to touch the format. They felt it was going to be dilutive to their audience, to their collectors. It was just destroying the value of art. We heard this over and over and over and over again. But it just took one artist to say, "Let me try something different." And the first like 10 creators really like took a huge leap of faith. Like there was nothing there. There was no proven monetization. That's like 466, like Tiny Denise, like Madhouse, Vault Music, DAA. These guys are, we are super indebted to them for like allowing something else to be tried and giving us the space to iterate on monetization of other things. And Web3 moves really fast. I mean,
Right.
people Drip's been kind of around in its current format for only 8 or 9 months. It feels like forever, you know.
I think, I mean, you touched on a bunch of stuff there that I think is so interesting about Drip, right? Like you guys are constantly iterating, and you're not going at it with like a finished product in mind, which I think is very interesting and very Web3 in this space. Like, evolving along with your audience, building an audience, figuring out what the audience even is, who they are, figuring out who the creators are and what they want, and like this kind of like what you've arrived at now with this basically Web3 art distribution channel is something that is quite unique and doesn't really exist in any comparable form, I would say, in the Web2 space, which is why it's very interesting. And also your skepticism of the whole technology, or your opposition to it even. I don't know if that's fair to say. Maybe reading a bit into it, but like I think that's so
Yeah.
interesting. Like kind of that leap of faith through this like customer interaction, trying to design an experience for people who come to an actual store, and then trying to push that online and to actually see what this technology can do and figuring it out with the people that create on the platform. Which is also like a question I had earlier when you were talking about this. You are a collector and you like baseball cards. And like, is that something? Are your co-founders also like collectors, or was there ever like this idea of like making an art platform specifically, or was that just something that kind of happened and made sense at the time, and you were throwing something at the wall seeing what would stick?
Yeah. So I mean, first of all, I do want to say like we don't think of Drip as an art platform. We think of it as a content platform, and art
Mm-hmm.
is one of the things that we have. But we have music, we have videos, we have
Right.
comics, or types of digital assets. Um, yeah, I mean, Sean and I both enjoy like strategy games like Hearthstone or Marvel Snap, so there's definitely some inspiration there. Joe, as far as I know, doesn't collect anything. He just enjoys building the tech, and it is very interesting, like tech to figure out, like at our scale,
Mm-hmm.
getting the most out of the Solana chain. But yeah, no, Sean and I have definitely like a kind of a little bit of a collector brain of sorts, and that those inspirations are heavily in the product, I would say. Like Drip is as much a game as it is a like kind of content experience.
Yeah.
We continue to lean into that direction every time we do. The results have been very good. Um, like I kind of believe just in general that um, adding a gameplay layer to products these days is kind of like the default expectation for young people who are primarily spending their time playing mobile games. I mean, if you look at the average, 15 something, 20 something year old, they're stuck in their social apps messaging. obviously TikTok, but then spending a lot of passive time playing all kinds of mobile games. And so we take tons and tons of inspiration from gaming into the product, and we'll continue to do so. So I think it's more it's that and the collecting bug. I think trying to together, um, you know, through this like content vehicle.
And how do you think of the current audience also is something that really fascinates me about Drip. Like you have obviously this first step was like, okay, how do we get people to interact with blockchain? We make them collect something, right? And on Solana, this was always way better, a way better experience and way more manageable experience than on Ethereum, and on some other chains. But now you have the degens to deal with as well, right? Like you have the collectors that come there and they're interested in the price going up or in the trading aspect of it. How do you kind of like think of those two groups? Are they distinct? Are they different? Do you even care about one or the other more? I don't know. What's your
Mm,
approach there?
yeah. And I would say that like a collector is a degen. They're just like a more patient degen. Um, you know what I mean? Like I think the experience I had with basketball cards is, you know, uh, loving to rip the packs, loving to experience that side of it and the collecting side of it. But it's not as if I'm appreciating the art of the cards that I have in my shoebox. It's like there is an underlying feeling that there's long-term value there, and maybe I won't experience that. Maybe my kids will experience that value, or my estate when I'm dead, or whatever it is. It isn't a non-investing experience. It's just on a different time horizon than the typical crypto
Mm-hmm.
folks. And um, my belief is that um, uh, partly because of globalization and the internet, but I do think that the category of what you would consider to be a degen as an audience member is probably very, very large. Like there might be like a billion, 2 billion, 3 billion people in that class, because people are being trained from the earliest days to think about randomness and to want to get lucky and all that kind of stuff. I look at my daughter who is obsessed with LOL Surprise. She's 6 years old and she wants these like balls that you unwrap and they have like a random character inside and random like little hair accessories and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that is the same identical experience as opening a pack of cards.
Yeah.
And it's happening and they're the most that company is the number one toy company in the world.
There's even the
And
meta
you think
level
about mobile,
of the YouTubers of the unwrapping, the gift unwrapping that
yeah,
kids are obsessed
yeah,
with, right? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the like mobile games, which are like fully built around, loot boxes and gotchas and all that kind of stuff. And I would like, if I were to put my like philosophical lens on that, I would say, what you're observing is that people are increasingly valuing experiences over things,
Mm-hmm.
and collecting is an experience primarily. And, unwrapping that surprise toy, that's an experience. Yet what's underneath of it is cool, but it's not the only thing that you kind of care about. And this is why do people care about experiences more than things? I think that has really deep roots in, how how efficient we're becoming with technology automating so many things. Like humanity, I feel like it's evolutionary in a lot of ways. And so I can see like 50 years from now, like the degen stuff is everywhere. It's just part of how we live. It's part of how we, get are fed dopamine by, society on a regular basis to ensure that we survive as a species and enjoy life and all that kind of stuff. So I like that's more where my head is at. And so if you kind of frame it that way, the TAM for drip can be very large because we're taking on one side the thing that everyone loves, which is content. We love to sit there and experience what other people have made, and then combining it with this like growing feeling of degenerate mechanics um, in gaming, and those two in a vacuum together should be the content experience to end all content experiences. Um, how you get to that step is how you get to that next level for us is very hard. I mean, it's really it's going to take us a lot of iteration, a lot of time, but I feel like we have the chance. I like you don't get that many times in your life where you have like a 0.01% chance to change the world, and how people like live and how people make content and do these kind of things. And I feel like we do have that tiny chance. Like I see the opening for us, and spend the next couple of years like seeing how far we can take it.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And two, like, I remember talking to you actually on a Spaces. This was not long ago, like maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And I was like, so what is kind of the underlying business model that you guys have? And you were like, I don't know yet. And I thought that was super interesting. First of all, the honesty is amazing. And then also this kind of approach, like, well, first of all, we need an engaged audience. We need to understand what the audience is doing. We need to understand what the audience wants. We need to understand the kind of experience that you have on the platform that keeps you there, that makes you want to spend money there, etc. And now, I don't know when this whole droplet thing came about, but let's talk about that for a minute, because one, I think it's the first time that Drip is actually generating relevant revenue. And two, it's obviously a way of attracting creators, because there's real money to be made now for people that publish
100%.
on this platform.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a very broad view of monetization. I think this was formed really through my experience building beta.
Mm.
Like money, although it's like the overall money supply is very inflationary, and technology makes things more efficient. It is a zero sum game at the kind of like wallet level. And I mean wallet meaning like an individual user's kind of like discretionary resources. And if you look at the very biggest companies in the world, like I remember I used to, we had this big deal with Macy's, and I remember seeing the CEO of Macy's, Jeff Gennett, talking about his business. And he was saying that the real reason that people were not shopping at Macy's was because they're spending those same dollars at Netflix and and their phone bill and all these other things. And I remember thinking like, wow, that's true. Like you have, a certain amount of income every month, and you can spend it on clothes, or you can spend it on content, or you can spend it on your phone bill. And you add that all up. And so everyone is kind of competing for a slice of that pie. And, applying that to like, content consumption in particular, there's only finite amounts of money that can be made per person in the world. It depends on where they live, and there's a finite amount of money that advertisers are willing to spend to reach those people. So you kind of like add it all up, there's no way to kind of like it's not possible for businesses to be at humanity scale and like make a certain amount of money per person. It's just not possible. Like the money doesn't exist in the world to do that. So if you work backwards from that, you realize that like the greatest businesses in the world have the biggest possible audience, and are making very little money per person. But doing that consistently and kind of growing their share of that wallet over time through different products and so on. And so if your goal is, and I don't think this is a good goal for every type of entrepreneur, but for what we're doing and for me, this is what drives me. If you think you have a shot at building humanity scale products, you don't want to touch the growth flywheel at all. You need to let that thing spin as fast as possible. And monetization sometimes gets inserted in there in a way that's very destructive to that flywheel, right? Imagine if we made Drip paid from the beginning, like you can't get an account without spending $5. We try to realize your entire lifetime value all at the front of the funnel. Like it doesn't grow fast enough. People can't fall in love with it. There's a lot of people that don't have $5 today, but maybe they'll have $5 tomorrow. So yeah, we really, we got a lot of like criticism for this, like, oh, what's the business model? What's the business model? And which is like, it reminded me of being early in Silicon Valley. This was like the topic that everyone asked Facebook and everyone asked Google and all these amazing companies. But we were like a couple months in, like 6 months in, I'm saying, hey, like we're just at the beginning. we need to make sure that we understand how the product's going to grow, and make sure that thing is flying before we touch it, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't want to introduce something that we only wanted to introduce monetization in a way that would grow the product actually. I think droplets was the perfect kind of solve for that because what grows the platform is great content. What gets great content on the platform is great creators. And so getting them paid is, of great importance for us and maybe number one most important thing at the end of the day. And making space for that in a business model where free users and paid users can kind of coexist together in one system required this kind of very specific thing that we design where you have a single in-app currency that's not on chain, that is shared between everybody and gives you mobility within the app. But we have these levers to pull now. We have levers. We can give people more credits and maybe they fall in love with the product more, or we can make it more expensive in the future, when that's the right thing to do to kind of tap into monetization of creators. So yeah, and honestly, it's been amazing. It's been like a absolutely insane result. Like I can't even believe how much people love it. We'll see if it lasts, but yeah, it's been revelatory.
Well, so far, I mean, you're onboarding, I think, what did she say, a creator per day or something insane these days. So, you know,
We have enough demand to onboard hundreds of creators a month at this point. We just don't have the tech for it. Um, yeah, like per day right now, we're willing to do one per day out of the pipeline. But like there are thousands of times more collectors than that joining every single day.
right.
And that ratio at humanity scale would be, not 3,000 to 1 like it is today or 4,000 to 1, but probably like closer to like, 100 to 1 or 50 to 1. So we've got to like work our way into that over time, I think.
How does the process work at the moment if you want to become a creator, if you're watching this and you're like, I've been doing this thing for years and I
Yeah.
have an audience, I want to apply.
Yeah, the first step is to go to the link in our bio on the Drip House account and see the application form. So that goes into the queue. Um, we process it somewhat in order, and then we have a separate process for picking out maybe priority creators that we want to bring on faster. Um, and yeah, that's definitely the best way right now.
Is there a panel
Get some
that
chess videos going.
who does the research? Who is the gatekeeper at the moment?
It's It's not a gates. It's supposed to be a wait list, but I'd say it's between Esther helps me filter, and so far it's been me having a conversation with creators. But honestly, I've never turned down someone I've had a conversation with, unless in the call it was pretty clear that they weren't ready.
Yeah. And last question before we hopefully get to one game of chess here. Just your outlook. What's coming next for Drip? What's kind of the next things on the agenda? What are you most looking forward to? And yeah, I don't know, 2024, if you even know. How far are you even looking into the future right now?
Not that far, honestly. And we have like big ticket, things that need to be done. But yeah, like because the product is growing so fast, um, we we spend a lot of time looking at the data. I think it's we're bumping things all the time and that need to be done right away, for the user experience or creator experience. The big ticket themes for this year, like number one is mobile.
Yeah.
We need to have a mobile app. We need notifications. Say two. We're trying to continue to elevate the collecting experience. I think right now, very hard to see, for example, what things are missing. It's very hard for creators to design snapshots around what you've collected, and kind of take actions upon those. So we're working on a whole like collector revision, and that's going to include things like achievements, which is kind of adding to the gameplay experience. Yeah, Creator Studio. We're trying to unblock our creator pipeline. We have something like 650 creators waiting to come to join Drip
Wow.
at the moment. So yeah, We yeah, creator studio, collecting experience, mobile, and then lots and lots and lots of like iterations around the economy, around droplets and all that kind of stuff.
Amazing. Well, shall we play a game? I'll
Let's do it.
I'll jump on lead chess and I'll find and
I'm
challenge
very
you.
nervous. I don't like to lose, especially in public, but I think it's very likely. Uh,
I'll give you white for starters.
Amy White. Okay. Do you have my
Yeah.
my
I just
username
need
or okay?
to find you here. You're online. Great. You should see like on the top right, like a little. If you're on desktop, on the there's like a little crossed sword where you just hit accept.
Oh yeah. Are you sure it's okay that I can see your screen? I'll be able to see your moves.
Oh, but my moves
I'm
are in
kidding. It's a
secret.
joke. I know. I'm just joking.
Okay, great.
All right.
How long have you been playing chess?
2029. Oh my God.
Oh well.
Um, I've been playing chess since like probably like 2005,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been playing bad chess since 2005.
Yeah.
Like very bad chess. Um, yeah. I go through periods where I like get addicted and my rating will grow a lot and then I come back, 2 or 3 months later and I'm dog shit again. So it is what it is.
It's a lot of iterating. Do you mind if I play this move?
Yeah,
Oh
let's
wow.
do it.
Look, you're aggressive. I like that. Yeah, I think for me the story, like when you say like you don't like to lose, the reason I started playing chess was because I played my friend uh, over Christmas. Wow, you know the theory even. Look at that. Um, I don't know this theory, by the way. This is the Grand Prix attack. I know the name for it, but I don't know how it goes. Um, and I was like, okay, I mean, I can figure out how to like play a game there and like not lose instantly. And I think the first game I lasted maybe like 25 moves or something before it was, you know, abundantly clear that I would lose. And so we
Mm.
played again, and it was like, okay, that was a a fluke in the matrix there. And then the second time he beat me faster than the first time. I was like, let's go again, and he beat me just as fast the third time. And that's the reason I started like getting into chess, because I was like, this is not supposed to happen. I can't be this bad. But yeah, so I feel you on that part. Let's see. You have an attack here. You even do that. Nice. I'll give you my rook.
Do I want your rook though?
I mean, it's a
I mean,
rook.
it's not bad. I like the rook. Um,
Rook's a
I
rook.
just wonder, what's that?
A rook is a rook. I mean,
A rook is a rook. Yeah, that's true. It is a rook. It looks juicy. But I like my bishop where it is. It's right there. It's right. It's right there. It's ready.
it's doing stuff. I mean,
It's doing stuff. Yeah, that's for sure. Um, I. mm, yeah, I'll take the rook.
by the way, I'm reading the chat, so if there's questions that you want to distract us with, now is a good time to pose them. Yeah, I'm super curious, by the way, too. I've been obviously, well, there's two things I'm curious about. One is still goes kind of go back to the more serious part, so I'll skip that question, which is more about your like how you think about business, because I think you're one of the most interesting people to kind of read on Twitter regarding that.
Thank you.
But you're juggling. You are basically a professional juggler. once upon a time? Or how are you so good at juggling and all forms of it?
Yeah, I'm a surprisingly good juggler. But being a professional is like a whole different level. Yeah, I don't know. I just started juggling when I was very, very you're in trouble, my friend.
You're going for the jugular. I was just going for the pun. As a juggler, well, I won't beat a dead horse here. Speaking of dead horses.
How to take it from here? Because yeah,
I narrowly avoided checkmate.
you did,
So far.
but you're pinned.
And see, that's a good move. That's a very good move. What do we do now?
Yeah, I think I told this story about juggling before, but one of my mom's clients was like a one of the best jugglers in the world,
Oh.
and so I had like the very early access to like a very niche like you know type of thing, and and oh man, you
I'm
are
just
on the
running.
run, my friend.
I'm just running. I'm just out here trying to survive.
Do I? Yeah.
I'll try to
So
do
I mean,
good.
I can give you my knight, I guess, and then take your rook. Yeah, and then queen b7, and your bishop is sitting there for me, and then my rook is going to come in. So yeah, I'd probably take the rook here, let you have it.
That seems good. Seems very
Question
good.
is, how do I bring another piece into the attack? Because this is kind of useless right now. Although I pick up a pawn, if I want it, two pawns. Everything is here for me.
Everything is there for
Have
you.
to be careful not to get mated. Um. Okay.
I played my very first. Oh wow. Wow. See, that's some high level chess. That's some patience that uh, that you hate to see in my position. um, yeah, I've recently played my first tournament, which
Oh
was
yeah.
very
How'd you do?
fun, like live tournament. Well, it was the one chance I had probably to ever win any prize because I was not rated. But I'm like
Mm.
I'm okay at chess, right? So uh, let's see. So there is um, there's rating categories that you play in essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and because I was in the unrated category, I was lucky enough to be able to uh, you know play some lower rated players and win some games, and I won the prize in the like unrated category or in the below whatever category or even in the maybe below 1500. But yeah, it's
Nice.
very stressful playing chess live. Like, streaming and playing chess is quite stressful. I'm realizing, um, but
Yeah.
but also
You have a lot of time on the clock. You have a lot of time on the clock.
it's
All right.
perhaps the only thing I have going for me here.
I've got to move a little faster.
And
Oh yeah, duh. Um, that's not that's not a good situation.
I think it's still fine, honestly.
Um, yeah, okay. I mean, fine, sure, but I was absolutely winning.
Let me give you some more time here.
Let's see. I mean, have to protect mate. Oh, thank you for the time.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Um, what do I
Yeah, it's
have
very
here?
hard to think and talk and also play chess at the same time
I
with any.
agree. It's really honestly the worst thing about this whole format. This is an iteration, right? We're also like growing. Like, oh, this is interesting. Just wondering
Oh
if
wait, yeah, I just hang mate, so
yeah.
that's just fantastic.
I
I had the idea to let you take rook check, take the bishop.
exactly
I
right.
just forgot about the mate there. It was a good idea,
Yeah,
but
this I think is really cool actually. Um, yeah, that's. I was wondering if
dang
this
it.
before. Anyways, I'll play it. Good game, sir. I'll also play it because
That's
we're running out of
unfortunate.
time. This was really fun though. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Damn.
yeah.
Is there an analysis tool on here? I feel like I
Yes. Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Lee Chess is great.
right away from the win.
It will just let you click analysis and do it right there. Um,
That's the mark of being a bad player, like just over a long period of time. Just yeah, can find the good moves, but then just can't keep track of everything. It was a good idea, I'm telling you. It was because yeah, if I hadn't,
I was
yeah.
wondering in
Anyway,
this position, by the way, if you wanted to maybe like at some point just give up your like here, if you just want to do this, because here you're crushing, right? Like I have no. All of a sudden my counterplay is gone. You just collect everything at some point,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You're right. Yeah,
Because I thought
yeah. I
this idea
was
was there the
just
entire time, and then like it was just a little bit mistimed. But here, I think in this position, it's really
yeah.
good.
I kept looking at rook to f5.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out how to make that work,
Ah,
and
okay.
but I couldn't. I was trying to distract your bishop. I thought maybe you would block the queen with the bishop when I went queen to b8, and you
Yeah.
moved your king instead, and I got kind of lost by that. But good game. I'm glad you won.
No,
Um,
I hate it. But like here
we'll try.
here the thing is
Yeah,
like I think you have like you're kind of forced to play this, right? Like here you're just in trouble all of a sudden, right? Because there's no way you have
right.
like here I have this and now like this is your last
Yeah,
defense and now everything is falling on
yeah,
your end
yeah, yeah. Maybe
because
there's some perpetual check or something, but
it's
yeah,
just like
probably.
you're losing all the pieces.
I mean, the right thing to do there is just to pick up the pawns, trade all the pieces, and just play like an absolutely winning end game,
Yeah, exactly.
and grind you down versus like trying to find some spectacular combo mate, which is what I was trying to do to show off.
Uh-huh.
Um,
You did
but
it
anyway,
for
very
the
nice.
fans.
Yeah, for the fans. Yeah,
You
exactly.
did it for the fans.
Um, well, thank you so much for having me. I have to jump right now, but let's do it again. Let's play chess
Was it?
casually.
Yeah, for sure. I'm around. Just DM me. We can play really anytime. I love playing. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the insights on Drip. I'll upload this later too for all of you. I didn't see many questions that weren't asked, so I think we got quite something done here in terms of learning about Drip and then playing a game of chess. So thank you so much. Best of luck, obviously, and we'll talk very soon.
All right, take care.
Have a good one. Bye.